Hello and welcome back to House Flipper 2 in the Great Sandbox tutorial. I'm Midas Designs, and today we are going to talk about several resizable pieces that you can use in the game to create different things like custom furniture, cool artwork or designs on the wall. You can also use it just to add extra little pieces. So these pieces, very important. You can use them in the base game, but not to the full extent that you can in Sandbox. And as we go, I'll try to point those differences as we work through this, but just know that some of these pieces you just can't do everything you can in Sandbox within the base game. So with that, going into the build section, again into the other, you have a whole bunch of really useful pieces for that are resizables that can basically shape and mold into anything. So the first one, and one that I see a lot of people use because it was the first one that most people saw, because they didn't really add some of these pieces in until later, and that is the chipboard. Now the chipboard is just a particle board, right? And that's the way they show it here. If you go to change the style, you are going to set this style as one thing. So if we go into the base, you'll notice that it has concrete and terracotta, but none of our marble options. So if you're trying to do something cool with marble, this is not your piece. But it does have all of your woods, it has all of your metals. It has a unique item here with the natural rattan, so you can do some kind of, almost like a weave kind of idea with the rattan. Obviously all of our damaged and dirty items, and then plastic. Now one thing you can't paint onto surfaces is plastic, so this would be a way if you wanted to bring in like a plastic square to build kind of like a backboard or something. You would need this piece in order to bring in plastic. So if we were to go in, let's just choose plastic, and let's choose this color here just so we can see it a little bit better. You'll notice right now I am vertical, and at the bottom you have an option to change the orientation, and this works both in the base game and in here. So you can flip it and put it down horizontal, or you can leave it vertical. Alright, so once we've placed it, the first thing you get now is the little resize arrows, so you can resize this as necessary. You can take this and duplicate it with the Q button, and you'll notice when we move these pieces together, you do get a little grid here, which can be great, especially if you're trying to do like a backboard in which you have the same color, but you wanted some separation between the different pieces. So that's chipboard, and chipboard can be resized pretty much down to nothing. As you can see there, you can see it just barely juts out from the wall. Nice and skinny. And again, we can hit Z to undo and go back to where we had it. Now I'm going to sell some of these pieces, and I'm going to move this off to the side. We're going to use that as a comparison piece as we go through these next pieces. So the next one is a floor transition piece. So this is something you can use, especially like in homes where you're going from carpet to wood or tile or ceramic. You would have this piece here. It stamps down the carpet so that that piece that isn't up against the wall isn't coming out. So kind of like how molding helps stamp down, your flooring and carpet and such to, help preserve it from coming up. Same thing with these little floor transition bits. These things though can be used for a lot of different things. So obviously you can set it down on the floor. You'll get the arrows to make it bigger or smaller. And if I go into fly mode here, you can see it's just barely sticking out from the ground, just barely noticeable. But these pieces are really nice because they can also go on the wall. And so you can take this and place them in a couple of places here. And I'm going to do two more like that. And now I can go into my move tool with the grid snapping on, and I can rotate them. Not something you can do in the base game. It is something you can do here. And then we can go and resize this. And we can create little frames around things. You can use this for quite a lot of stuff. You probably even use this for fluting if you wanted to. Really, the sky's the limit on this. I use these pieces a lot in different builds. They help to fill things in, and you'll notice they're even smaller, like jutting out from the wall, than our chipboard. Now moving on, we have a series of pieces which are called the jungfrau. So they're building moldings that allow you to do different things. So we have a triangle, a half arch, an arch, our little tiny building block, which I use quite a lot. We have this one here, which is just a little curve, kind of like a half curve there, and then the full curve block here. Now let's start with this block here. You'll notice as we kind of move it around, it kind of snaps into the middle of each one of the block areas. And as we go through and put it down, you'll notice we get a resize option. Now these things here, if I go to sell them, you have a change orientation. So you could put it right there and make a little curved edge here. You can paint the surfaces of these. Pretty much anything surface that you can put on the walls, you can put on these jungfrau pieces. So we can do like that and almost make it look like there was a column there. Or a pillar, I should say. Now, when we're dealing with this piece, so if I change the orientation, there we go. So if I extend this out like this, you'll notice I now can extend it into the wall there. I can paint it. Kind of a cool effect. If you want to end cap this, we would use this piece here. So this piece here is going to end cap it and create a nice termination point there. Next up, we have these pieces. These can only go one way, and that is out. You can obviously flip these to go vertical if you want. And again, it's just a simple half block curve right here. I use these sometimes for the edge of tables or edge of counters if I'm building custom counters. Then we have the triangle piece. So this is the one piece that you really can't change too much of when you're in the base game. So if I were to come up, actually let's remove these pieces here. Now if you're looking at it straight on, it's going to be sideways. So if you want to have a triangle piece like that, you'll need to be looking at it sideways for some reason. Now, first thing is when you click once, it's going to place it. And then it's going to want you to size it vertically and horizontally with the second click. And then how wide you want to go with the third click. So if you just want a simple triangle, you'll just click 3 times and you got a triangle. Now, this thing here does not have a change orientation. So if I wanted a triangle here in the corner, it doesn't let me do that. So I would need to use the tool in sandbox mode only to do that. And then we could resize it, make it bigger, however way we want to do it. So you can create ramps of varying, angle and dimensions. You can put it into the corners at the top of the roof. I mean, there's a lot of different options for triangles. So anytime you need a triangle piece, this is the piece you want. And in Sandbox, you can do a lot more with these kind of triangle pieces. The next piece is the half arch. Now, there are a lot of things you can do with the half arch. Sometimes I like to do this kind of like molding. See a nice smooth transition to the ceiling. So it's almost like ceiling molding. You can use this with, varying architectural elements, however way you want to use it. I do know some people, if we, let's say we had a doorway here. So let's go 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There we go. All right, let's paint that up. So you could, in theory, create something pretty cool here if we go into resize it. So you could create like a half arch, or if you were to copy it and paste exactly that same size, you can see we get a little bit more of a pointed top to this. Now, one thing to note is at the bottom here, you'll see how it looks very stretched. So it'll look fine if you put white paint on it. You're not going to notice any issues if you just paint it. But if you were to go in and put like tile here, you see it stretches, or the stone here, it stretches the stone and it looks a little awkward. So just keep that in mind when you're doing this. You want as smooth of texture as possible when you're putting something up there. Otherwise it's going to look a little weird. Now we do have an actual archway here, which will even it out nice and neat for you. So you click once to place, twice to extend out, and then the third click is your vertical. So first is where you position it, and then you adjust the width and then the height. Oops. There we go. Nice archway, nice and clean, nice and even. And it looks really good. Now you could, in theory, take an arch like this, and you can extend it out. And you can make it cover the ceiling like this. So you can create like a big kind of curved, or vaulted ceiling type thing within your home. A lot of different options there. We'll cover a lot of these different concepts and ideals over the course of the next couple of episodes, and really purpose build specific items. So I'm not going to cover too much more of these in super depth. Just want to give you an idea of some of the pieces that are here and are available. So we've covered these, we've covered these. Now we have our little tiny block. So if I were to place this tiny block next to our chipboard, you'll notice that our chipboard is exactly half as deep as this. And this does not go any deeper. If you go deeper, it's just a flat item that can't be seen. But you can extend it out however way you want. I will note, you cannot place anything on this. It is not a shelf. So if you're trying to place something on this, you're going to have to do it another way. You can either place it down and grab the move tool and move your piece up there and try to get it to place on there without it doing that, and eyeball it. Yeah, just know that this thing is not going to let you put stuff on it. Oftentimes I'll use it for kind of various things like little ledges or wraparound items. Yeah, I mean, I build legs with it, for furniture. There's a lot of different things you can use this piece for. It is probably the most used piece now outside of the chipboards. It's very versatile. So definitely recommend getting used to this. You can place that piece on the floor. As I showed you, you can do it on the wall. You can also place it on the ceiling. Basically, it'll attach to any surface and allow you to size it any size that you want. And then it is a surface, as all jungfrau are, so when you paint it, or you use the surface tool, I should say, if we pick a different color here, we'll have to do all 4 sides, or 6 sides, I should say. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the 6th is right there. And sometimes if you're having trouble getting to that piece, you can extend it out from the wall, so you can paint this side and then extend it back in wherever you need it. Again, I use this tool, this piece here, a lot, just because it gives you that extra flexibility of being able to paint the sides. I can't paint the sides on this. This is one color. This is one color. This, I can choose a different color for every side that I'm looking at, and it takes any surface that's within our surface tool. So anything we've covered before, from paint, stone tiles, wood, wallpapers, metals, etc. It'll take everything that's here. So with that, I think there are some other resizables. You have your columns, which just go vertical. Log fence post, which is vertical, another column which is vertical. You have some horizontal beams that can be resized. Yeah, really the sky's the limit here on how you want to do this, but really the big things about this episode are these jungfrau and the chipboard. These things are vital to anything you want to build, and over the next several episodes we will build some custom furniture, some custom concepts, just to show you different ideas of how you can build something unique with these little pieces. So with that, hopefully you learned something new, and I look forward to seeing you all next time. Bye.